So hit my forehead on the sandy bottom. I open my eyes and I see the bottom. And initially I'm trying to shake it off and I couldn't move. And I was like, well, that's not right. Try to move again, couldn't move. And that's when panic starts setting in, mind starts racing.
Right. And our nation is behind in technology, is behind in just access to healthcare and a way to pay for it, because getting sick should not bankrupt you.
Right.
Having an injury should not bankrupt you.
So you're always kind of looking backwards on, well, if I wasn't hurt, this is what I'd be doing, or that is what I'd be doing, or, you know. And so I was trying to live in the past a lot. And I think that was driving a lot of my depression, my suicidal ideation. Like,
of course.
You know, and again, going back, like I was praying. I prayed to survive, right? Right. If everything is capitalism driven and profit driven and not driven to serve people, then you get this system that just does not work. And you also, you know, you've got this infighting between Democrats and Republicans about what the solutions are and who should do what.
You know why? Because it's a bulletproof economic value state.
Yeah.
Period. It ain't going nowhere because you cut the head off, it'll grow another one because somebody can still keep the shit moving forward because the rates aren't going to drop. Welcome to the Business is War podcast. My name is Elliott Forman. I'm your host, and on this platform, we speak to any and everybody that has a strategic story that helps us to get better. Today, my guest is Mark Raymond Jr. of Split Second Foundation. He is a survivor, he's an overcomer, and he's an entrepreneur, and we're going to get into the weeds with him so that we can talk about how he did it and what he's continuing to do to make life better for others. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, my brother.
The pleasure is all mine. So listen, how important is every day to you now?
It's everything. The value that I have of life, of humans, humanism, is profound.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Obviously, July 4th, 2016, you had a life-changing injury, what we call it, incident. What do you call it?
Injury, accident.
Okay, listen, that's literally 10 years away from Saturday coming. My question to you is, like, what was the biggest surprise?
There were a few surprises. I think the biggest one to me was that I would overcome it, right? Like,
So say that again. You're saying to me that, Elliott, I went through something really tough, and the surprise to me was that I would still be here and making it.
Yes. I think wrapping my head around it in the beginning was one thing, and trying to see what the future would hold.
Okay,
right?
For those who don't know, tell us exactly what happened.
So July 4th, 2016, out on the boat, Lake Pontchartrain, in a place in the lake that I grew up swimming at. So I was very comfortable. Had a couple of boats. So I'm swimming between boats, probably like 20 of us out there. Was cooking on another boat. And towards the end of the day, it was probably not even end of the day, evening, right? Like 5:30, my buddy gets a phone call. He was currently playing for the Knicks. It was his agent calling, saying that the Knicks were going to give him a 4-year contract.
Oh, wow.
So he literally told me that and was like, hey, pack it up. Let's go watch some fireworks, let's go celebrate. And my excited, overzealous self took 3 steps, dove off the back of the boat, not paying attention to the tide and how much the water had shifted.
Oh, wow.
And dove into 1.5 feet of water.
Okay.
So hit my forehead on the sandy bottom. I open my eyes and I see the bottom. And initially I'm trying to shake it off and I couldn't move. And I was like, well, that's not right. Try to move again, couldn't move. And that's when panic starts setting in, mind starts racing.
Right.
All the things, all the thoughts. And I just tried to focus on holding my breath because I knew my friends had limited time to come flip me over so I can get some air before I drowned. And last thing I remember before going black was praying to Our Father and thinking about my mom. And that was the last thing literally I remember before waking up in the hospital weeks later.
For anybody who doesn't understand the gravity of that statement, I don't know where they're at. But for me, that's mind-blowing. So you dive off, you're underwater, you're saying the Our Father prayer, which is my go-to, by the way.
I'm prepping to meet the Maker.
Did it hurt?
Not in the way that you would think it would hurt. The anxiety of it, yes. It's like knowing you're about to die and trying to accept that, like, in your mind while also clinging to life.
So you were unconscious, still in the water.
Conscious. I was conscious.
You were conscious in the water. When did you go unconscious?
After the point where I start to drown. Well, I'm ingesting water.
Gotcha.
Right.
And who pulled you out?
Best friends that were on the boat. They pulled me out, did CPR. But they said when I coughed up the water, it wasn't like I returned to normal. So they knew something else was wrong. So they mount up, unanchor one of the boats, start heading back to the marina. There was a nurse on another boat that I was cooking on. She jumped on the boat, and they were like, trying to figure out what it could be, stabilize me. I lost my pulse again on the boat ride to the marina. Mm-hmm. Was met at the marina by an ambulance, getting an ambulance. On the way to the hospital, lose my pulse again. The EMTs brought me back, and then get to the hospital where they say I was somewhat conscious, but I don't remember any of it. I was in what's called spinal shock.
Okay.
So, everything, I don't remember any of that.
Wow. So when you say weeks later, you mean weeks later?
I mean 2.5 weeks later, yes. July 23rd, 22nd was like the first days that I remember.
That is a long time, and oh my. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you why. So because I drowned, I got water in my lungs. You water in your lungs, you don't get it all out, pneumonia can set in. So after a day or two in the hospital, I'm laying in the bed, pneumonia sets in, and now they don't want to do the procedure on my neck, so they put me in an induced coma.
Wow.
So they could fight.
So
the
how do
pneumonia.
they purposely play with someone's consciousness? How do you even do that?
Well, they put me on propofol and basically put me in an induced coma so that my body wouldn't fight too hard, and they can help stabilize me. And I mean, as you can imagine, it was a wreck on my family for that time frame. And
you know what's crazy? Nobody prepares for those types of things. You know how many of us are walking around invincible, and we don't realize just how close we are to a phone call or an incident, a slip and fall, or something that could truly change one's life. So
Absolutely.
You wake up around the 21st, 2nd, 3rd. You're waking up. You're in the hospital. Who's there?
Mom's there, sisters in town. There were other friends in the waiting room, but the first person that the nurses and team called was my mom. Okay. Right. So, and she comes to the back, and I'm still thinking it's like next day, right? I had no reference of the time.
So you lost track of time.
Yes, absolutely. And I had a trach in, so I'm on life support, right? You don't have a voice when you are when you have a trach and that kind of device. So I'm trying to talk, and no words come out. Wow. So I'm like mouthing words to the team, and it's just like whispering what happened. Not even a whisper, but just like your mouth's moving and no sound is coming out. And I remember mom coming in and mom consoling me, and everything in the room is beeping when you wake up. I'm sure you've been in a hospital room.
Yeah, but not like that. So
not the quietest place.
So you're in the hospital bed with a trach. You've lost track of time. Mom's coming in and saying hello, and glad
Tubes
to see you.
Coming out of me. Is that a collapsed right lung? So they had to do a pulmonary effusion on my right lung.
But it wasn't that big of a dive.
It wasn't. But when you mess with your nervous system, I mean, everything it gets jumbled.
I bet you understand more about the human body now than ever.
I'm a professional at anatomy and physiology, and I'm now constantly like reading research and very in tune with treatments that are being developed for neurological injuries and neurorehabilitation. So yes, I definitely look at all of that way differently.
So let's go back to the hospital. You're in the hospital. Mom's there. You got some family support. Mm-hmm. When does the aha moment happen that you are, can we say paralyzed? Mm-hmm. That you're paralyzed?
It was probably shortly thereafter, mom coming in. One of the things I was trying to tell my mom was, hey, call my boss and tell him, I've been in an accident and I'm not going to make it to work. And she was like, Mark, that was a couple weeks ago. And so that's when that kind of thing set in. And that's also when the nurses and I think really started to introduce the concept that you've been in a really bad accident. You're paralyzed right now. And doctors are going to come to talk to you about all of this, what it means. You've had a spinal cord injury. Mm-hmm. at the C5 level, I could barely lift my arms up at that time too. Like this mobility that you see me have sitting up, all of this, I didn't have that. I was laying flat on my back with the neck collar and the tube and...
So you telling me the mobility that you have now is hard work, recovery type situation?
Correct. Very much. It took me literally about a year to get really comfortable sitting up, shoulder mobility, arm strength. And again, it's not something that you learn or plan for, like outside of going through it, or seeing somebody else go through it.
So you're in the hospital bed on your back, and the nurses and everyone has kind of spoken to you about that, and now you have to rationalize your mind that you are paralyzed.
Well, you immediately go into denial, right?
For sure. The stages of grief. Let's talk about them. Yes. So the first thing you was like, no, this ain't real.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, I'm going back to sleep because this is a dream. Right? Like, there's no way. No way.
Yeah, I think that is probably something that a lot of us would wrestle with. Oh, okay, all right. So you can't even eat. You can't even eat with your own hands.
Couldn't eat, and not to mention they wouldn't allow me to eat. Like my speech therapist, because I had the trach in, and I couldn't have water for the first 2 days. Like they were sneaking me water like in a toothbrush, brush my teeth. Yeah.
That has got to be
simultaneously too. Like I have a lot of friends and family that are trying to come in to see me. And they can only come in 2-3 at a time. So it's like this cycle of people coming in and out, and I'm trying to like wrap my head around all this stuff. And so it was a very just overwhelming experience. But as most of these split-second accidents are.
So that's the low. Mm-hmm. And every day you've been moving forward from it.
That is the beginning of the war.
Heard that.
Right. The first day is the first battle, then the first week, and then it became the first month and the first year. But that was where it began. Tell
me about friends and family, because what I want to know is I've hit some rough patches in my life, and I didn't have as many people there as I thought I would. And it taught me a lot about myself, and it taught me a lot about the true value of a relationship. So what can you say about relationships now?
I mean, I have a lot of friends and family, lots of support. I mean, my family's been here for 5 generations. 3 of my families have been here 5-6 generations. So, having that at that time was everything. And I didn't realize it at the time as much as I wanted to turn inside and be alone and
for sure
shell up and have pity on myself and, kind of looking for sympathy. As I was also in denial and like, you're trying to wrap your head around this whole situation of paralysis and spinal cord injury and, doctors coming in and they're like poking and prodding and also you don't sleep in the ICU because people are coming in at 2 o'clock to check you, 4 o'clock to draw blood.
Well, then how are you supposed to get better?
Man,
we can talk about that later, but I want you to know something. I've been in a hospital before and they come in every 4 hours, man, if not sooner than that.
Bro, it was a lot.
Okay.
So having the friend and family support, my friends and family started a GoFundMe while I was under 2.
Wow.
So to help, offset the cost of the bills that we knew were coming. I had no idea how big the bills were going to be. And that's when I, months later started to learn more about the healthcare business. So, having that and then seeing like 4,000 people contributed to it. And
oh, yeah, that must be heartwarming. Yeah.
Larry threw a party, a fundraiser for me. Greg and them threw a party and fundraiser for me. Victory, like having that level of support definitely was heartwarming, but it also wasn't something I was like, I really cared about in that moment. It was like, oh, that's great. But go back to the paralysis thing for me.
Right.
I'm like, no, there's no way.
So you know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing the fact that your mind was being honest with you. You were aware of things, because a lot of people will live in denial and they will be in a victim shell. But yeah, to see that the community rallied around you, that makes me feel a little bit good, because trust me, my faith in humanity is in the trash right now. But I would say that your being honest with yourself is probably one of your, that's a decent feature right there, because a lot of people, man, would have gone left with it because it's easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely was. And I'll say too, I think people rally harder in like the nuance of it. Just like when you lose a loved one, you got all this family support, immediately after and then right after the funeral. And it starts to kind of wean off after like 2 weeks, a month.
For sure, because you know
months.
what? They got to go back to their normal life.
Correct. Everybody's got their routines and their systems. And
so tell me, what does normal life look like? So now, how did you get out of the hospital?
so I went from University Medical Center, spent 6 weeks there from ICU to regular room. Got discharged August 8th to Turo to do 6 weeks of inpatient therapy. And that's when I hadn't taken a bath like until I got to Turo.
Wow.
So, a month of laying in the bed with the neck brace on, not getting out of bed. I think I got out of bed once. So that was a transition, something to get used to. But in all of these settings, like, you're meeting new people and making relationships, right? Like, and some of them, the doctors that were on my care team, I'm still very close with.
For sure.
The therapist,
because that is a critical part of your life that they were a part of.
Yeah. Like, and you know me. I mean, when I don't meet new friends too much. Like, I meet new family.
Yeah.
Just, assimilate. And that's more how those relationships have grown and prospered. Same thing at Turo. But Turo inpatient therapy really taught me how to, like, live this life. How to, that's where I got the first wheelchair. That's where I started doing therapy and, like, really pushing what the recovery from my body would look like in the acute phase. Now, years ago, you used to get more time in therapy. I only got 6 weeks because they had changed that, the insurance dynamic of that. So I could tell you I was absolutely not ready to go home. My family was not prepared for it, and it was kind of...
Right, because there was some adjustment period, right?
A ton. I mean, you go from an inpatient setting where you have access to therapists, doctors, nurses, techs, mental health folks, all of the things, and, like, people like you going through the same things as you that you can talk to in the lunchroom or in the little dinner room, and you build those relationships too, and then you get discharged to go home. So I got discharged September 21st, something like that, and it was just like, that was the real beginning.
Okay, so that's a whole nother
that beginning when now everything is on your family, and your care is on your family, and you don't have that level of access to all of these care things, and there isn't, like, a real transition where it's efficient and easy, and you go from having kind of the same level of care and access in the hospital to the home. That's where shit got real and difficult and fast.
So you done made it through 2 hospitals, and now you're back home, and it's quiet, isn't it?
Very quiet. Very quiet. That's when a lot of the real harsh realities, the real battles begin, right? Because now you're also getting used to a new routine. So where, I would have been on a flight going to another city to go to work, do some stuff. Now I'm stuck. I'm sitting, and I was hyper independent, man. Like, I'm getting on my boat by myself, going to Lake Bourne, going fishing, jumping on a flight every Thursday to go work a event for Mark Cuban's TV network, to literally just having to sit and navigate this new existence.
Wow.
And so that's when a lot of the other grief and depression kind of, like, was hidden.
Before we get back to the conversation, I need your help. If Business is War has given you a strategy, an idea, or the motivation to keep building, follow and subscribe today. Every subscription helps us keep the platform growing, bringing you real stories, practical tools, and battle-tested insight to equip business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, follow us on your favorite platform, and share the show with someone who's serious about winning in business. Business is war. Let's keep building together. And so, to be honest with you, that shows a lot of mental fortitude, because what you're saying to me is that you've gone through the phases and overcome the phases, and you kept taking the steps. And I'm telling you, I know for a fact that it is easy to just be like, you know what, I'm going to sit in it. Because, man, listen, doing nothing is actually easier than doing something.
I'll tell you, for that definitely the first 6 months, it was like just rewatching seasons of Game of Thrones and shows, right? Like, looking for anything that could suck me out of my reality, right? So I didn't have to own it. I didn't want to look in the mirror. I didn't want to see it.
That is interesting. You didn't want to look at yourself.
Couldn't. It broke me every time I looked at it. Like, this can't be real. I would wake up in the middle of the night and I like with an itch in my neck or something and I can't scratch and, you know, all of the little things that
we take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Independence.
Yeah.
Heard that.
Going and now having to ask people for help for everything, to feed me, to put me in a car, to bring me somewhere, to help me at the bar, to, you know, drain my catheter bag. Like, it was humbling.
I bet. Okay, so when did you decide that you were going to do something?
Probably after the first year, you know, I spun in circles with the grief and the guilt and definitely the depression. You know, there were some days that were better than others. And it always hits too around like days that you celebrate, your birthday, holidays, right?
Another birthday in
Mardi Gras, where I can't move around like I used to, right? It's a reminder. And so you're always kind of looking backwards on, well, if I wasn't hurt, this is what I'd be doing, or that is what I'd be doing, or, you know. And so I was trying to live in the past a lot. And I think that was driving a lot of my depression, my suicidal ideation. Like,
of course.
You know, and again, going back, like I was praying. I prayed to survive, right? And it became like well, God, this wasn't what I was talking about kind of thing, right? Like,
man, I'm telling you, that level of understanding, and you know what, you can look back on it. Have you wrote your book yet?
I'm writing it. We got a lot of chapters.
I'm pushing you to go ahead and get that thing done, okay? Because what is it going to, can you share the title yet, or you still kicking it?
We think we're going to call it Split Second.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why you wouldn't. That's a story that I would read and so many people need to read, because what you just said to me is that you went through the biggest minefield of them all in your own mind, and you kept going. You kept moving forward. And that's what so many people just don't get. If you stop in hell, what's the point of that?
Right.
You got to keep going.
And that's what it was, right? It was not even hell, just darkness.
Yeah.
That I'm like looking for a light. I'm looking for something to give me hope for this situation. And it's interesting because we're like football player just came out with his ALS announcement.
I saw
Chris
that.
Johnson, right?
I saw that.
I watched Devin Still's comments. He made a video talking about how it was difficult for him to watch that video and knowing like that these humans that are at the top of the food chain in the sense
he was the
of
best, brother.
Athleticism, and now watching his body fail him, it's hard for him to watch that, because it's hard for us to see that we're not immortal or invincible and that this can happen, right? And it's hard to look at it through the lens immediately of empathy and not sympathy and pity.
Okay.
And that's what I had for myself that first year. In that darkness, it was pity. It was like I don't think I've been
able to separate myself from my own reality to feel sorry for myself yet. That is a different kind of conversation. Again, that's why I highlight your level of awareness, being and understanding. So back to the athlete, Chris Johnson. So explain to me more about what this other athlete said. He said that it was hard for him to look at it
was hard for him to watch the video of Chris, and like Chris can't talk, so now he's using technology to speak for him, right?
Yeah.
And so his diagnosis has progressed that much that fast. And so to see again someone that was viewed as, you know, a god on the field, if you will.
Yes.
Right, of his athleticism, and now like not being able to have that same level of power and control. It is hard for humans to see it.
Gotcha.
Because in it, they see their own mortality.
I get it now.
And I wasn't looking at it from that perspective, of course, then, nor was I thinking about it like how it was hard for other people to see me this way and be around me this way. Not because they didn't love me, but because it was hard for them to grapple with that this could happen to them. Right, this could be them.
And that is what empathy is. It's our ability to take and put someone else's pain in our own setting.
Yeah. You put yourself in those shoes and see it and feel it and really understand it. Now, and not just from a lens of pity, you know, or sympathy, like I'm sorry for them. from a lens of that could be me.
That could be me.
Right?
Wow.
And so for that first year for me, looking back, that is the frame for me. It was pity. I felt sorry for myself. That's why I didn't want to look in the mirror, right? And each day, again, was a battle. Some days I made it all the way through the phases of grief, right, and to acceptance. And some days I woke up with acceptance and went to sleep back in denial, right? And again, you're just trying to win the battle is the day, the war is the year. You're trying to win the year.
Gotcha.
So after that first year, Mom and I decided that we needed to get out of our routine, get out of the things that we are used to. And we found this program called SCI Fit in Sacramento, California, on Instagram, where they were really pushing the traditional norms of recovery after a spinal cord injury.
Okay.
And Mom was just like, let's just go. Let's go try it out. We need to get out of here. Go see something different. And man, I'll tell you, I thought I was going to be there for like a week, maybe 2.
Okay.
You know, and she was like, well, let's just get the one-way ticket. We'll figure it out, whatever. We had a friend there that had a place that we could stay, and we had another friend that had a car that we could use. So it was like all the stars kind of aligned.
How you like that?
Day one, I rolled through the doors at this facility. It's close out to the airport if you've ever been to Sacramento. And everybody in the room spoke. Hey, I had never been there before. I'm like, all right, I just feel like New Orleans, you know?
Okay.
Just feel a little bit like home. And so I'm sitting in the waiting room, like looking around, or the waiting area, and I see a bunch of empty wheelchairs, and everybody is like really pushing the quote unquote norms of recovery post spinal cord injury. Like if you couldn't walk, they were helping you walk. Right? If you couldn't sit up, they're sitting you up. You know, if you couldn't stand, they're standing you. Like all of the things that we need to really do to challenge the human body in terms of recovery, they were willing to try. Whereas with physical therapy and traditional healthcare therapy, they have to check so many boxes because of insurance, right?
Don't you hate that?
It's a double-edged sword for sure. I hate that they aren't always willing to be innovative, but I understand how they get trapped in not being innovative, because if something happens, then
listen to me.
lawsuits.
That's our entire medical system in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's scared.
The desire to do more, arguably, coupled with or curtailed by the fear of what could happen. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily like that. I mean, like, how do you move forward if you're moving forward in cautious, calculated, cover your ass fear? You know what I mean?
It's very interesting, you know, and I think the controlled environment dynamic is tricky. Like if they had innovative treatments that I had to sign off on that weren't fully tested, hell, I probably would have signed off for some stem cells or whatever
sure.
It would have been if it was offered to me and they told me, hey, we got a pretty clear view of your spinal cord. It's not completely severed. If we do this graft and inject this gel, it'll probably help your body heal and stabilize way quicker. And you're gonna need your nerves are gonna need to regrow in this space. But there wasn't that. That wasn't available. So.
I think that sometimes, and you're right, double-edged sword. I think that sometimes a lot of the innovation isn't there because you can't be creative. You got to go through so many regulations. But remember, regulation exists for a reason because not everybody can be trusted. You know what I mean? So hey, there you have that. So tell me how long you stayed in California and what happened after that.
So I ended up staying there for 3 months. And
that's a one-way ticket, huh?
Yeah, that's a one-way ticket for sure. And I needed it, man. I needed to be in that space, in that community, around those people, because that was where I really saw the light. That was where I really okay, man, I can live this life.
Gotcha.
I could do this, but I need this in New Orleans.
They planted the seed.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ask an off-topic question, but how does one utilize and have insurance that makes sense to be able to do what you've done to the point of Sacramento?
So all of that was private pay. We were paying out of pocket.
That's what I thought. Because listen to me, I think they denied first and paid later, right?
Well, the way that insurance worked in outpatient, I only had a certain amount of visits. So when I got discharged, that's when Mom was like, all right, let's go try this out because you don't have any more visits right now, to continue your therapy, right? So, and when we knew that, then it was like, all right, well, yeah, what do we have to lose, right? Some money? No. Let's go.
Okay.
And, but that was also one of the things that I saw that was frustrating. Like, why wouldn't insurance cover, or kick me out when I'm not better, right? Recovery is not linear in that way. Like, just because you give me 10 months don't mean I'm better and I'm ready to now attack the world. And there's a lot of policy issues that we're confronting now because of that, around Medicaid and, work provisions for people with disabilities. Like, I need to prove my paralysis so I can stay on Medicaid.
Red tape.
It's red tape, and it's not always up to me whether or not I can work. It's if I'm applying and a job isn't, or employers aren't hiring me, is that my fault? Mm-hmm. Right. So, but going back, SCI Fit was everything, man. The people there.
So tell me about that organization. Like, who started it, and was their purpose just to help people with spinal cord injuries?
He had a diving accident, or surfing accident, but he had a spinal cord injury. And went to a program like it in LA, and same story. Like, he was in, Northern California, wanted to start something like it in his area, and started in the Bay. And I think the SAC location was the second location. And the lead therapist there, or lead physiologist there, was, he worked at the first location and saw the opportunity to help him scale and grow the business. Mm-hmm. And, like I noticed quickly, it was just this huge population of people that needed this service.
So you see the business need from that point right then and there.
I was asking them business questions while I was, going to.
That's the entrepreneur in you. Yeah, you're like, man, look, how we can make some lemonade out of these lemons.
And more the problem solver, because I wasn't even thinking about it from an entrepreneur. I was thinking about how to solve the problem and what I needed to do to make the solution work. Mm-hmm. But not understanding that, okay, I'm really now stepping into this entrepreneurial lane.
Yes.
Right? Like, that part somebody else told me I was doing. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Well, let's do it then.
So now you're in the business as war realm. I'll tell you why. Because you've identified a serious need. You have a North Star. You have a true life component that can drive you unlimited fuel. Yeah. Which is your desire to see somebody who probably would go through something like you and have more resources than you had. Yeah. That's absolutely. The reason I started my business. It's the reason you started yours. So when did Split Second become a foundation? So
when we got back from Sacramento, it was October 2017. It was like with that energy. Mm-hmm. Like, I need to keep this up. I felt stronger than I had. Doing a whole year of therapy here, my spirits were way higher. Like, I was ready to live again.
Yes.
I had the light now, and I wanted to, figure out how to really, bring that here. And it started very narrow focused again, still just spinal cord injury. And, because I didn't see a lot of people in that facility that had strokes and other disabilities. We officially filed paperwork in April of the next year. I met with a ton of people. Mm-hmm. I wanted to figure out how to start a nonprofit. I didn't go to school for business. I went to school for chemistry and physics. Like, business was a new thing.
Wait, you're on the science brain side?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Business is on the. I think more so on the literary side. History and literature. Mm-hmm. But so you went ahead and you started the formation of this business.
Yeah. Formed the 501c3. Learned the whole process. Hired an attorney to file the paperwork to make sure we did it right. Put the board together, came up with the mission statement, all articles of incorporation, all the things, right? And we kind of put a rush on it because we wanted our first fundraiser to be my 2-year celebration. Okay. So that was the first, that wasn't even the gala, it was just a fundraiser, right?
Yeah.
Party for a purpose.
Yeah. A fish fry.
I used the list that we had from the GoFundMe to reach out to folks to sell tickets, and we ended up raising like $50K, which was the seed money to get kind of the ball rolling on everything. Fall of 2018, so that was July 4th, 2018, 2-year celebration, literally, we called it Dependence Day. Mm-hmm. That raised $50K. Put myself through an incubator that fall at Propeller, the startup accelerator, where I really got the foundations of what it would take to build this thing, run this thing, scale it, right? Learned, marketing, had an idea of the legal. I've always been good with numbers, so the financing piece wasn't an issue. But looking at it from a mission impact, problem solution, customer, where are my customers, who are my customers, and really having to define those things. And that's where I think it got sharp.
In business, every sale matters, but how you process that sale matters too. As the founder of Bonita Payments, we help business owners simplify payment processing, improve cash flow, and choose the right point of sale technology for how their business actually operates. Whether you run a retail store, restaurant, or online business, or multiple locations, you deserve secure solutions, competitive rates, and real support from people who understand business.
It's sending back to your brain,
processing
and your brain
like
translates
expense.
all of that.
Turn it into
so you got stuff going up, and then stuff coming from the brain going down.
Visit BonitaPayments.net
to control
and
your
let's
movements,
make every sale
right?
count.
We don't realize how complex it is until something happens. And so think about too, how many muscles you have in your face, how many muscles you use reflexively when you laugh, when you smile, when you frown, right? You see it in people who have had also Bell's palsy or Ramsay's Hunt, right? Where they get that bilateral paralysis on one side of their face.
And that's why you get this droopy face sometimes or whatever the case might be.
Yes.
So all spinal cord injuries come from an injury.
Yes, most from some type of either compressive trauma. Mine, I had a burst fracture of the bone in my neck. That bone caused the damage to the cord. So from the impact, right?
Gotcha.
So,
and then a stroke is just a lack of...
A stroke is a blood...
An aneurysm, a burst.
Correct.
A burst, okay.
Correct.
And so what does it do? It stops the circulation to a particular hemisphere?
It causes a bleed.
A bleed.
Right, a bleed in a different area of your brain.
Do you know why so many people around here are getting strokes?
Hypertension. High blood pressure. Right? Same thing with heart disease.
Because of the damn food we eat?
Definitely the food we eat, right? And other inhibitions, drinking, smoking, all of that can lead to strokes. So, and a lot of what we preach is about understanding all of your variables, all of your data, so you have a better understanding of things that you could be susceptible for, whether that's heart disease, kidney disease, and all of those are exacerbated by high blood pressure, right? And how many people we know around here that won't go to the doctor to see if they have high blood pressure?
Gee, based on Tuskegee and a whole bunch of different historical things in black men in medicine, they got a reason to be a little bit fearful, but we've got to definitely break that stigma.
Well, and I think now you have better access to real places that are safe, right? And not to mention AI is going to change all that. You can go to Walgreens and you do a blood pressure check while you wait in the pharmacy line to get your medicine.
But that's not AI. That's a machine that answers that. But it's close though. And guess what? Pretty soon, come on, man. Star Trek had the little medical scanners back in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? That's coming.
Yeah, all of that is coming. Matter of fact, most of that's here. There's a lot of that tech that I see frequently on social media in China. That's all right, how do we use that? How can we implement that?
Come on, bro. They're going to Mexico. And Mexico is in no way, shape, form, or fashion a medical powerhouse, so to speak. But they're doing some things that are pretty cutting edge over there. You can go get teeth in one day.
You can get teeth, stem cells, growth factors, peptides. They've leaned more because of the laxed regulation.
Yeah.
Right? So you'll have doctors that go from the United States to Mexico to practice because of that.
Yeah, because they want to learn and see what's happening. Mm-hmm. And you know what? That's crazy because I think that we're so big that we have to move slow.
Yeah.
And the reason we have to move slow is because what if we get it wrong?
Yeah.
What if we didn't put enough trial and error on it before we introduce it to mass public?
Well, the reason is because we're a litigious society.
For sure.
If they mess up, somebody's going to sue. And then there's, money and time and, yeah. So that slows a lot of our innovation. I have the luxury of being able to see the world and see everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. So I've been spinal cord injury was the place where I got hope, mm-hmm. right, in that first year for me. So seeing what was going on in Thailand, in Japan, in Korea.
Now, are any of these
Panama.
new innovations, are they actually doing the work?
Yeah. Yes. A lot. Like, I don't see this, I'm at that 10-year reflection and planning point, right? I don't see myself fully paralyzed like this in the next 10. They are several treatments that are in either phase 3 clinical trials or phase 2 that have had tremendous results. So
I don't know this, but is there a to Elon Musk for medicine?
Elon's got Neuralink. Neuralink, the first person he put it in has a spinal cord injury. So now he can control his whole computer with his brain. But as they expand how many electrodes they can put on it, right? And it could start to translate data. You got to think about it. There's nothing wrong with my body. There's something wrong with the cable connecting the signals, right? So if we can just figure out the signal problem, then my body's fine. Then my fingers work, then my hands work.
That is something. Listen, I'm for it. I hope it happens tomorrow. And I love it, because what you just described to us was your day, your incident day, your day one of the war that you started in your life and where you are now. Now, how many people come to the gym? And tell me a little bit about the actual current state of the gym.
So we've scaled substantially. Mm-hmm. We had to increase the price, I think, in year 3 from $0 to $25 an hour because we had so many people, mm-hmm. right? And it was like, we got to figure out how to balance the revenues in this. Like, I was, completely grant dependent and using our fundraiser as the main revenue sources. Wow. And it just wasn't sustainable.
No, it wasn't.
You can't. There's only so much you can do shaking the can, right? And so that's when I started to really think about it from a business perspective of creating more of a health and wellness business, right? And thinking about the different verticals that we could offer now that we are the experts in the space, mm-hmm. because we've had 2-3 years of training and developing this model and helping people. And so now there is a clear demand for what we do, and everybody sees that, right? So we start to really think about that. Additionally, we never stopped listening to our customers, our clients. And they would come in with everything else, right? Like,
right.
Where do I get transportation? Who can help me with a caregiver? Where do I get durable medical equipment? Who's a good doctor? Who's this? Who's that, right? Like, so, and we're taking in all of that data and figuring out how we can provide other solutions for them. 2023, we wrote a grant to Blue Cross Blue Shield for a mental health and resource navigation program, got $100,000 to build that side of the shop out, focused on, again, group mental health, so doing art therapy, yoga therapy, music therapy, and also being able to create a resource database that we can funnel folks to connect them to all the rest of the things that they could need.
Your ecosystem.
Exactly. So now we start looking at it from an ecosystem perspective. And also, how can we be a part of the workforce development piece, right? Because the way PT goes, not many really get exposure to neuro. Mm-hmm. A lot of them get exposure to peds, orthopedics, right? You get a knee replacement, hip replacement, broke a shoulder, something, right? A lot of physical therapists go into that, or sports medicine. Neuro is not as popular. So I'm like, how do I get allied health to come through to give these students exposure to this space, because we need more PTs that want to do this, right?
So neuro is underserved.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Simultaneously, there's not enough caregivers. And then, like, looking at all of that opened my eyes up to the much, much bigger pictures that everybody is going to need what we do at some point, whether it's for you directly or for somebody tangential to you, your mom, your dad, as they age, right?
Right.
And so then we started to serve aging adults. Now we have, folks from the geriatric community that come to work out to stay healthy, because as healthcare's gotten so much better, people are living longer.
Yeah,
the 65 and plus community is growing 3% annually, and they need more outlets for health and wellness, because the more they move, the healthier they are. You prevent some of those falls, you prevent a lot of hospitalizations, you reduce the cost on the whole system. And so we started to I started
the light bulb went off
to the systems approach to, oh my God, this is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity that hasn't been fully built out. And there's other facilities around the country that do similar things to what we do. Centers for Independent Living, which have been focused on, kind of the same mission, but not the same intentionality and structure. And really using that intergovernmental affairs piece to talk to elected officials about, how this could be a huge cost savings. Going back to my hospital cost, it was $1.5 million just for me at UMC.
Wow.
Right? Coming out of Turo, they told me anytime I had any issue or, I'm getting a cold, anything, go back to the emergency department. So I'm running back to the emergency department for everything. Each one of those trips we know is expensive. Every time that they kept me overnight, that's expensive.
Yes, it is.
And I'm like, there were so many times that I went to the ED for something I did not need to be in the ED for.
Yeah.
To the point where they again, I've got these relationships. My advisors would be like, dude, you don't need to come to the emergency department for that. Like, we need to find you some better primary care. And it took me a while to find the right primary care. So now I'm like leaning into that space. Like, how do we help guide people to the right primary cares that understand spinal cord injury or stroke or neurological conditions, and like that is their wheelhouse completely. They don't even see other patients, they see complex patients, right? And thinking about the healthcare side of that model. UTIs is a big thing in the spinal cord injury community because a lot of us have incontinence, can't control your bowel or your bladder. And so using catheters, you're more susceptible to get bacterial infections because you got stuff coming in and out to drain your bladder. And so a lot of folks deal with consistent or chronic UTIs. So you need a urologist that you have easy access to.
For sure.
If you don't, then you're, again, going back to the ED for all of this stuff. So caregiving. If we had just a better, if we could incentivize caregiving and build that workforce, you would have a reduced need for institutionalization of people with disabilities, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, right? We saw during Hurricane Ida how underserved those folks are in those facilities as they had to get uprooted and all ended up getting shoved in a warehouse, right, in Hammond in North Louisiana.
Right.
And you're hearing these horror stories about them having to use the bathroom in buckets and stuff, right? Like, it's terrible. And the data says that people that live in community and have access to services in community have better health outcomes. So let's build that infrastructure out.
Well, let me ask you a question. Who's the top person in the U.S. that's responsible for that?
Department of Health, Health and Human Services. So, all of that comes from HHS, but I mean, it's the president, right? The president of the U.S. has to make it a priority to fix our broken healthcare system. The challenge comes is that, you get one administration like the Obama administration that was really laser focused on getting people access to care. And a lot of the trickle down was, who was managing the access. And
you want to know something? Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, that is a big ass system.
Huge.
It's enormous. And the reason being is because everybody in some time period of their life is going to need medical care.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is not a pillar of priority for our country says a lot about it.
You like the math and P&L. Healthcare is the number 2 expenditure of the United States, right? It's defense, healthcare, 1 and 2, and mostly because.
Well, hold on. Let me jump on top of that. So we haven't been in any defense related wars. We've been in offense related wars, but not defense related wars, and that is the majority of our budget. And our nation is behind in technology, is behind in just access to healthcare and a way to pay for it, because getting sick should not bankrupt you.
Right.
Having an injury should not bankrupt you.
If you are in the middle class and you have a health accident, there's like a 70% likelihood that it will bankrupt you. Because let's take a easy example. You got a husband and wife. Husband has a stroke, it's bad. Wife now has to quit job to take care of husband. If they were both working, that's now a 2-income household that is unemployed and relying on means-tested benefits, Medicaid, Social Security. And again, same situation with me. They don't know these systems. So now they got to learn these systems.
Right.
How to get the access to Medicaid, how to get Social Security. And there's asset limits with those. So now you can't have this much money, or you're not going to get your Medicaid or your Social Security or food stamps or whatever it is. It should be to literally give you a hand up, not beat you down further.
Oh, yeah.
So that you have to lower yourself to access these supportive services. And then, so again, caregivers aren't paid a lot. Most caregivers at these nursing facilities, they're making $10, $12 an hour. You think they really gonna care about double and triple checking your mother when they're underpaid, overworked, stressed out, can't take care of their personal lives? No.
Let me tell you, one of the problems with the underpaid and overpaid conversation is that we've made it so expensive here in this country that it doesn't matter what it is, it's not enough.
Correct. Because we never put a check on profit, right? If everything is capitalism driven and profit driven and not driven to serve people, then you get this system that just does not work. And you also, you've got this infighting between Democrats and Republicans about what the solutions are and who should do what and where we should cut.
And at the center is the quality of life for a person who needs help.
Exactly. So, and it gets so lost in translation because there's so much stuff going on that we can't even just focus on getting the little things done right. So, I have taken it as a priority to do a lot of the intergovernmental affairs work, connecting with Governor Landry currently, the Louisiana Department of Health. Like, we do an annual Disability Awareness Day at the Capitol to bring all of our disability organization partners to the Capitol to meet all the legislators, other department heads. This year we had the Secretary of the Department of Health, Bruce Greenstein, who gets it, who wants to fix all this stuff, who sees it from, I think, the same perspective that I see it from, not only as something that we should do because it's the right thing to do, but also if we do it right, it will save the state money, right? There needs to be more access.
I gotta wonder because, tragically, the CEO of a healthcare company was assassinated in broad daylight by some person who just whatever was going on happened.
Yeah.
And I know that the profits are record breaking. Some of the biggest companies in the world are insurance companies.
Let me ask you this. How much do you think their stock went down the day that happened?
I want to know.
It didn't.
You know why? Because it's a bulletproof economic value state.
Yeah.
Period. It ain't going nowhere because you can cut the head off, but it'll grow another one because somebody can still keep the ship moving forward because the rates aren't going to drop.
I mean, it didn't even blink. Damn. And that was surprising to me, right? Like, China says anything about AI, the S&P drops 10%. Meanwhile, a CEO of a health...
The largest.
Gets assassinated, and it didn't blink. And that said a lot.
It says a lot. But again, that's the value systems of this country. Now, I've seen you go from an incident to being in the war to understanding exactly what your role could be. And then taking that mantle and carrying it because you saw it somewhere else and you brought it back home. To being a part of a government structure that showed you different windows and doors that you didn't know existed. And for you to take that beautiful mind God gave you and you decided to take this mantle and you want to run and take this torch to another level, I commend you. I salute you for that. Now, what is the pivot? Where do you go from here?
I'm starting to view, Split Second Foundation is a healthcare startup. And I think the verticals for us on the home and community-based service side, there's no ceiling. Everybody in this country, again, will need what we do, right? If they don't need it already right now, right, for a loved one that they know or a situation they haven't gone through. There hasn't been a week in my post-accident life that we've built this that I haven't gotten a call from a friend or a friend of a friend that said, hey, my mom, this just happened.
Yeah.
That just happened. What do? We need help. Can you come talk to him? You know? And so, again, seeing that need is like, it reminds me, again, of my humanity, of what it means to actually be a human, to be a shoulder to lean on, to be in a community, right? Why socialism is actually important and being able to provide services to folks.
It's bad when you don't need it, but it's good when you do, boy.
Dude. And again, just like having an emergency room. You know, we drive past them all the time, and you sure are thankful when you need it.
Yeah.
And so, but going back to your question, I think on the business side, it's more verticals, like really getting involved on the home health side, really being an advocate for getting better compensation for caregivers, so that we can have the infrastructure that we need to support our aging population. The other shift to that is this is an economic development conversation. Because where you have the services, the people will come.
For sure.
So right now, New Orleans is on a population decline, right? Who should we be marketing the city to as a retirement space or as a retirement space? Well, everybody's going to Texas and Florida. Why not Louisiana? We got great culture. We got stuff to do. Yeah, they're hot. We're hot. Most people don't want to live in the cold forever. But for the baby boomers that, have now a large concentration of the wealth, you want those folks to be relocating to these areas. And you do that by showing them, hey, we got everything you need.
Yeah,
we got culture.
For your resting days and times, we got resources here to give you care that you need.
We got health and wellness and leaning on that. But and then more micro and local to our current expansion. So we bought a building in New Orleans East, and that will be our second location, but our flagship. And so I look at the first space that we've been in as like the pilot, right? This is episode 1, getting this model right, being able to have a holistic wellness facility that is part clinic, part wellness, where we can do some healthcare stuff, PT, OT, and couple that with fitness program, nutrition program, financial literacy programming, as well as the social stuff that we do that brings people together and keeps people together. That's what keeps people coming out and wanting to be around us. Like, we have clients that'll come to the gym now. At 4:30, we close at 5, and they'll say, man, I don't even want to work out. I just need to be in this space or be around y'all.
That.
See these words on the wall. It's community. And I want to build more of that. I think that there's a real opportunity in what we do and a definite lane to expand to other markets and do it.
So if somebody says, I want to support you, tell me how they can do that.
So we got a couple avenues. Like, we're always looking for monthly contributors, monthly donors. People can go to splitsecondfoundation.org, click the little donate button in the top right hand of the screen, check that monthly donor box, and that's the easiest way to support, because those funds go directly to subsidizing the cost of our program for somebody in society who cannot, right? Who can't afford the price that we charge for those services. Another way, we come to one of our events. We got a gala coming up September 18th at the Fillmore, after party at Caesars. Tickets are on sale now. You can click the link on our website there. And also, like, easiest, if you can't give us money, give us your talent.
Your talent.
Yeah, or your talent. Yeah. You can volunteer. We've got volunteer opportunities. Just leave a comment on one of the videos, right? Like, tell us you like the work that we're doing, I understand that it's tough financial times.
Sure.
We're living in this K-shaped economy where the rich are getting richer and, there's an exacerbation on the middle class. So, but just those words of support.
Yeah.
That goes a long way.
I can tell you what, I could talk to you forever about the way the economy is going because, none of it makes any sense to me. I'm just a regular guy thinking that everybody should have an opportunity. Because remember something, the American dream is what so many of us need to hear and believe that it actually is. We don't need to know that it's a fake lie or it's not truthful.
Well, I think the American dream got kidnapped, if you will, by corporate interest and profit. And a profit.
I don't understand that. If you already rich, why you hate on the poor man? Just think about that. You know what? That's some demonic stuff right there. Just think about that. If you already are a CEO, a corporate type, a tycoon type, or somebody rich, and you're already in Bruce Wayne peeing in the mason jars, if you already where you wanted to be at in life, then why would you bother somebody else?
It makes no sense. Again, I think a lot of them lose sight of what it means to be a part of community and be human in and of itself. I always like to look at what other countries are doing. And China has become, to me, the model. They have uplifted 800 million people out of poverty. They've taken profit and reinvested it in country and built infrastructure. You look at their cities from 30 years ago to now, it's like looking at the same thing in Dubai.
That should be a lesson to America right there.
The blueprint
we are
is
so
right
busy
there.
Fighting over red versus blue and rich versus poor that we have actually forgot the value of being an American.
And it's not like the access to the knowledge is hard. We have more access to information and knowledge than we ever have. You can go on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, and just type in China City and go look at the videos. You don't see trash. You don't see poverty. You see development. And then when you see them talk about their development, like the hydroelectric dam, that was a human engineering feat that should be marveled as the pyramids were marveled, right? It slowed the spin of the earth down by a second, like crazy things. They produce 4 times as much energy as we do, and it's all renewable.
Wow, that right there is a bar.
They are the biggest importer of oil and gas, which is why, we're in certain wars right now, or being offensive in certain wars, because I think we've been trying to slow down them becoming the global leader, but I don't think that there is really much slowing them down. They already are at number one. I mean, they've built more high-speed rail in 20 years than in one city than we have in the whole country, right?
Well, that says a lot.
And leaning on the socialism aspects of their country, again, investing in people, investing in the middle class. Their free market economy does not control the government. Now, you have opportunity to be ambitious, to grow billion-dollar companies, but that is not what they are promoting as a government, right? Our government is controlled by the billionaires, and we could talk about that.
Well, go ahead and give us your social media links so we can follow you.
So you can follow me on Instagram, Mark Raymond Jr. Follow Split Second Foundation's page at Split Second Foundation. Same thing for Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. But of course, you could also find us at our website, www.splitsecondfoundation.org. Yeah, man, a lot of exciting stuff coming up. I'm trying to figure out how to be more vocal about the work that we're doing.
Yeah, sure.
Build more bridges, right? Bring more people into the middle, and really build this thing out, because I think it's a big opportunity, not just for the services that we provide, but from an economic development perspective for our city and state.
Well, today I got a master class on tragedy to triumph, and I hate to say tragedy because we never know why things happen, but Mark, I want to thank you for your story. It has been enlightening. It has been inspiring to me, and I want to do as much as I can to help you. So my platform is yours, and you're always welcome to come back. But if you need him, reach out. I know him to be the type of person that always answers the bell, because he's shown you that in his personal life, he will do just that. Mark is a business's war story, and he's also a pivot story, because he's walked us through his war and he's walked us through his pivot, and we expect a lot of great and wonderful things from him in the future. Mark, God bless you. God bless what you're doing, and I hope you do as much as you can to help as many people as you possibly can. My brother, I love you, and I will see you on the other side. So Business is War, like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned and support him any impossible way that you can. Reach out to him, and like he said, something as simple as just a comment like is all that it takes to say, hey, you know what, job well done, thou good and faithful servant. God bless you, and we'll see you on the other side.